anyone, independently of the education she or he suffered, who is interested in our basic current scientific understanding of the universe. By universe, I mean everything observable, from the largest object, the universe itself, to the smallest ones, the elementary particles that function as if they had no smaller parts. This is one more of many books on the subject. Why write yet another one? Because the attempts to understand our universe are indeed fun, and I cannot resist the temptation of putting in writing and attempting to partake of my own share of this fun. Some potential listeners may be allergic to math. Fear not, I shall use very little algebra and arithmetic, the 4 rules, powers such as 10 to the 3rd power, the cubic power of 10, also known as 10 to the 3rd, also known as 1000. I may go so far as using an occasional square root or a vector, but not without warning. Chapter 1. Physics as an Art Form. Should the Almighty have consulted me about creation, I would have recommended something simpler. Alfonso X of Castile, 1221 to 1284, King of the 3 religions. The royal quote was a commentary on the then accurate and pervading, but very Ptolemaic view of the solar system, in which planets revolved in complex orbits around the Earth, as opposed to simple ones around the Sun. This exceptional king, Alphonse the Wise, had good intuition. Things are indeed simpler. For a scientist, simplicity is also synonymous with beauty. The beauty, for instance, of the equations that describe the universe. But the very first rule in writing a book on physics for readers who are not necessarily familiar with math is not to write any equations, with the possible exception of E equals mc squared, which is so often misinterpreted. The mystifying scribblings are the Einstein equations of general relativity. This rather simple formula encompasses a good fraction of everything physicists know. At a basic level, it says that gravity is described by the properties of a gravitational field, embedded in the left-hand side of the equation, that is, before the equals sign. The source of gravity, the right-hand side, is anything that has mass and or energy and momentum. The equation describes or predicts, among other things and with incredible accuracy, Newton's proverbial falling apple, the behavior of clocks and GPS satellites, the orbits of the planets, including Mercury's, and the peculiar advance of its perihelion, the deflection of starlight by the sun, the motions of stars and galaxies, the existence of black holes, the emission of gravitational waves by binary pulsars and black hole mergers, all the way to the expanding universe. Who would not admit that there is a manner of beauty in this simplicity? What lambda symbolizes is the cosmological constant. It is to be added to the other equation, and it may be interpreted as the energy density of the vacuum. If lambda is not 0, the vacuum is not void, as we shall discuss in well-deserved detail in the first section in Chapter 22. At the moment, the cosmological constant is the simplest explanation of the observed fact that the expansion of the universe is currently accelerating. For a positive lambda, a chunk of vacuum in the universe would gravitationally repel any other one, thus providing the acceleration. Is this not also beautiful, or to say the least, mesmerizing? Incidentally, a deep question to which we have no serious answer is, why are the fundamental laws of nature elegant and concise? Yet another physics Nobel Prize winner, who, unlike the ones in the preface I shall not name, has a tentative answer. It is sufficient to look at our planet to conclude that if someone created the universe, she did it at random. How could you otherwise explain, for instance, the political situation in many countries, including mine, and perhaps yours as well? You may have noticed that my colleague is a feminist to the point of assuming that the hypothetical creator is a goddess. This goddess happens to have good taste in the sense that on weekends, when she is supposed to rest, she reads the previous week's physics literature. When she comes across something irresistibly beautiful, and I have